Hello guys, my name is Devesh and welcome to my channel. This is the 16th video on the series Python for Beginners. I hope you are having a good time learning Python. In this video, we will be revisiting what we have learned so far. So here we are at PyCharm. Let us start our today's discussion with PyCharm itself. So how can we practice Python on PyCharm, or how can we write programs on Python? One way is to go to this Python console at the bottom, okay, and right in here I can write my program like anything, like print hello world and hit enter, and I can see that it's running here. This is one way, and like so on and so forth. I can go on writing some random values. And then like this I can go on. So this is one way where I can run my Python programs, okay. And the other way would be to create a file, okay, a Python file. So Python files are files with the extension of .py. So suppose I have a Python file called as practice, okay. I can see that the extension is automatically assigned by Python here, by PyCharm here, and this files become practice.py. What I can do is, in this file I can write my whatever the lines of code I want to write, and then I can run this file from here. So I'm going to use a print statement, and inside this I'm going to write this program is run on PyCharm, okay. And if I want to run this file, I can simply right click here and do run practice, and I can see this program is run on PyCharm. So these are the two ways to execute your code on PyCharm, okay. One other way is, if you have a existing Python file and you want to run it on PyCharm, you can browse through the files, go to open and navigate through the directory where your file is present, bring that file here. Once that file is opened here, you can simply go again to the center of the screen like this, do right click and run that file, okay. Now let's move on with our discussion, okay. So far we have not seen how to write comments, okay. So suppose this is my file, and on this file practice.py I want to leave some comment for my peers, okay. So I can give triple quotation marks like this and write my comment here for other developers to understand what is this file used for, okay. So this file is used for practicing everything we have learned, so far, okay. And now if I run this, I can see this this comment is not coming. So commenting is a very important thing if you are developing a large application, or even if you are writing smaller functions. Comments gives a fair understanding to your fellow developers, to your peers, or for whenever you want to go for maintaining an application. It's always good to have comments there, so that anybody who is referring to this file at a later point of time understand what this file was used for, okay. So this is how you give comments in Python. So that was all on the commenting part. Let's start a revision on the data types, what we have seen so far. So first one was the numeric data type, then we saw string data type, we saw list, tuple, dictionary, then we saw set and boolean. Okay. So what are numeric data types in Python? So numeric data types are the data types which deals with number. In numeric data type we saw three types, that is integer, float and complex number. Integers are the complete number. They are the numbers that do not have any fractional part. Float are the numbers which have decimal in them, like 1.4, 3.142, 5.8. And complex numbers are the numbers which have real and imaginary part. So let's take an example for each one of them. Okay, and for float number, let me take a variable, say n1 is equal to 1, n1 is equal to 3.142, and for the complex number, let's take an example, n2 is equal to 2 plus 3j. Okay, so in this manner we can declare the numeric data types. String. So how do we declare an empty string? How to declare an empty string? We can take a variable, say x, or let's take a variable s is equal to single quotation mark or double quotation mark. Both will work fine if you want to declare an empty string. So like this we can declare an empty string. If we have to declare an empty list, we can simply take a variable, say L is equal to pair of square brackets. So that's how you declare a list. When we have to declare a tuple, we can take a variable t is equal to pair of parentheses, and that's how we declare a tuple. For dictionary, let's take a variable d and say d is equal to pair of curly brackets. So that's how we declare a dictionary. When we have to declare an empty set, let's take a variable, say I think we have already taken s and s1, right? So let's take a variable set1 is equal to set of parentheses. So this creates an empty set for us. And in Boolean data type we just have two values, that is true and false. Please note the casing of true and false. T and F are in caps and the remaining letters are in small case. So let us resume our discussion on string. A string is used to represent words, a letter or group of words, or simply say paragraph, and it is an immutable data type. The way we represent string is inside a single quotation mark or double quotation mark. Both single quotation mark and double quotation mark have the same meaning, and they do not have any specific difference between them. Okay, so let me write it here just for the sake of reference. So suppose I have a string, say like Tony Stark is an man. Okay, and from this string I want to extract this specific part, that is Stark. The way I can do that is I can use something called as indexing and index slicing. So let us calculate indexes, but before that let's check how index slicing work. So I will have to take this variable and put it here, and then we'll have three things here. First is starting index, ending index, and there will be something called a stride. So starting index is the point from which we want indexing to start, ending index is the point at which we want the indexing to stop, and stride is simply the hopping interval. So let's calculate it. So indexing starts from 0, so t is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and fifth is the space. So my indexing should start from after the fifth index. Okay, so s is the sixth index, and then it should continue till 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it should continue. I want the 10th character, so the end should be 10 plus 1, that is 11, and I want the continuous character, so one after another. So I will specify the hopping interval as 1, and let's run this, and I get the string Stark from it. Suppose I want to reverse this string, I could have simply take the hopping interval as -1 like this and run it, and this would have reversed the string for us. Okay, if we make the hopping interval as 2, it will just give us the alternate characters from this string. So that's how indexing and index slicing work in string. So our next 4 data types are collection data types, which are list, tuple, dictionary, and set. So let's get started with list first. So list is a collection data type in which we can have wide variety of data types like numbers and strings, and I can also have a list inside a list. This is called as having nested list, and I can have a tuple inside it, and I can also have a dictionary like this. And list also supports indexing and index slicing. So suppose I want to access this specific element, which is tuple here, I just have to calculate the index of this tuple and I can access that tuple. So let's take an example of this and try to print this tuple on the screen. So let's calculate the index position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's print L of 4 and run. So we get the empty tuple here. Suppose I want to put some value here like this, and if I run this, I get those values. Now let me comment out this one. Okay, so that's how we can have a list or a tuple inside list itself. Alright, list is a mutable data type, meaning that we can alter the contents of a list. Okay, so I want to take one more example on nested list. Let me remove the contents of this list and put some more empty list here. Okay, so inside a list I have 3 more empty lists. Let me fill up these lists with some random values, and 7, 8, 9, and there is one more empty list which has 10, 11 and 12. Okay, so step by step we will try to learn how we can access the elements inside a nested list. Suppose I want to access this element 3, okay, from this list L. So how we can do it? The first approach would be to get this list from this, get the first list in which the element we want to retrieve is present. So it is present inside this list 1, 2, 3, and the index of this list is 0. So let's get this list first. Okay, now we have this list, and in this list, okay, in this list 1, 2, 3, I want to take out the element 3. So the index of this element 3 in this list is 0, 1, 2. So L of 0 gives me this list, and if I further take the index, put the index of 3 here and run this, I can retrieve 3 out of it. So that is how it works. Okay, now if I want to move on to another list, okay, let's move to this list, and from this list I want to extract the element 11. So we will follow the same approach. Let's get this list first. So the index of this list is 0, 1 and 2. So let me put this index here and see whether we are getting this list or not. Let me run this. We are getting this list now. Now I want to further move to this list I want to move to the list which is present inside this list. So let's calculate the index of this list. So 0, 1, 2 and 3 is the index of this list. So let's write index position 3 and rerun our program. Now we are getting this list. Okay, now from this list I further want to extract the element 11. The index position of 11 is 0 and 1. So if I put the index position 1 here, I should get the element, and let's run this, and now I get the element 11. So this is how we can work with nested lists with the help of indexing. Okay, now let's move to the next data type, which is tuple. Tuple is exactly similar to list. Only difference is tuple is immutable data type, meaning that once we create a tuple we cannot modify or alter the content of a tuple. Okay, and the same example goes here. We can put the values inside the tuple and separate them through comma. We can have different data types inside tuple like list, tuple and dictionary, and we can also have nested list inside a tuple like this. And if we run this, if we print this tuple on the screen, we get the result here, meaning that this is a valid tuple. And like we have seen in list, the same way we can access any element which is present inside these elements like the dictionary or tuple with the help of indexing. Okay, all right, let's move to dictionary. A dictionary is a collection data type which consists of keys and values. So I can have a key here and there will be a value corresponding to it. Okay, keys need to be, all the dictionary keys which are present should be unique. So suppose I have used key in the first instance, so the next way I have to make it as key 1 and there will be a value. Value can be same or different, it does not matter. Depending upon the use case that we are having, we can either have values same or different. Okay, and the key value pairs are separated by commas. Okay, now coming to the question, what are the data types which can be used as dictionary key? So rule of the thumb, all the data types which are immutable and can be hashed, they can be used as dictionary keys. So numbers are immutable, so I can have them as key. Strings are also immutable, so I can also have a string as a key. And tuple, like we know, they are also immutable, so I can also have tuple as dictionary key. And coming to the value, any data type, be it boolean or list or let's say dictionary itself, all of them can be a dictionary value. There's no check like whether they has to be mutable or immutable. Irrespective of whatever data type they are, they can be made as dictionary value. Okay, and let's print this dictionary on the console, so we can see that our dictionary is created here. Okay, now coming to set. So suppose I have a variable, say s3, and inside this variable I have created a set, and in this set I have put some values like this. Okay, so set is a mutable data type, meaning that it can be altered. All the values which are present inside the set needs to be unique, because set is a collection of unique values, and the values which are present inside a set, they have to be immutable. Okay, so let me run this set, and here is our set created. Now if you see on the screen, there is a set here and there is a dictionary here. Both are starting and ending point of both these are with curly brackets. Now how do we determine what is dictionary and what is a set? So one way is to look for key value pair, and the other way is to use this method called as type. And you can type, you can do it like this: print type of the variable name and run it, and we can check what is the type of that variable. Okay, and if I change it to D, we can see that it will return as dict, meaning that this whole thing belongs to the class of dictionary. Okay, and let's move to the next part, that is Boolean data type. Like we said, Boolean data types are used to evaluate an expression. So suppose if I have an expression 10 greater than 4 and I want to evaluate, so I can look at the result of this, and when I run this program I am getting true, meaning that this evaluation is correct. If I swap it, okay, if I increase the value of this number and run it, I get a false. So by looking at the value returned by this expression in the form of Boolean, we can determine whether or not that expression is evaluated to true. So these are the data types which we have seen so far. So other than these data type, there are other data types like frozen set, bytes, byte array, and memory view. However, for this course we won't be needing them. If you want to learn about them, you can follow a W3 School link which I have pasted in the description of this video. Other than this, we have seen lot of standard operation or inbuilt operation on these data types. I would highly encourage you to go to the videos where we have discussed them and practice them, so that as we proceed further in this course, you have already built a solid understanding on them. Thank you for watching this video, and I will see you at the next lecture.